Hello guys! Now today we're going to be learning how to draw a head in 3/4. This is something I notice people asking a lot, how to draw this, mostly because it's a bit more complicated than the others because it's a very different angle. So we're going to do this in a very simple way, as always. You know, I like to keep everything simple and that's how it's going to be here. So let's talk about the first thing you need to draw a head in 3/4. Actually, you need this when drawing anything, ever. It's a reference. So I have here a reference of a portrait in a 3/4 view, and we're going to be using this for our drawing. Now, before starting to draw, let me give you some tips of where you can get your own references. So one of the first places you can go to is either go to Google, search for portrait or a portrait in 3/4 and search the images. You can go to Pinterest, just search for a portrait as well, and you'll have lots and lots of options and you can pick one and draw from there. Then of course you have stock photo websites. These are usually, some of these are free. For example, you have unsplash.com, it's free. You have a lot of resources here, a lot of images, a lot of photos, and you just need to look for the thing that you're looking for and just pick one and draw from it. And the great thing about these websites is that you can know who the creator is, you can credit them in your drawings, you can look for more work for them, and it's always a great place to go. So you have unsplash.com, which is free. So you have Pexels, it's exactly the same thing, it's also free. Just look for whatever you need and you'll have lots of options here. And lastly, another of my favorites is pixabay.com. Again, you have a lot of resources here, and the interesting thing about Pixabay is that you can actually find videos. So if you need a video, it's also really nice. So let's go back here to our drawing. Going to add some transparency here, and we're going to start to draw our head in a 3/4 view. So what are we going to do now? The thing we want to do right now is to find shapes. For me, this is what always helps, is grabbing an image, add some opacity to it, and now find the shapes that we need to draw anything. So in this case, we're going to start with a circle. There we go. So we have here a circle. Nothing too fancy, doesn't need to be 100% perfect. And we already have something here. Now the next thing we're going to do is the line going all the way down the whole head. So, and that defines the head in the middle. So we have here. Alright, there we go. Here in the middle of the lips, as you can see. And there we go. And here we have our chin. So as you can see, we already have something. Now next, let's find the rest of the face here. So we have a line going down here. And another going from here to here. All right, now here we have an ear, so let's do a circle for the ear. Okay, now it's good. Now if you want, we can make here some lines for the neck, just so we're sure we have, just so we don't have a single head floating in the air. All right, so we're almost done. Now we're going to want to find the shapes for each feature of the face, right? And that way we know where to draw everything. So the eyes, they go through a line here. All right, there we go. So we already have, if I hide this, we already have a very good base to draw a head. We already have most of our head done. Now all we need to do is add each feature, like the eyes, nose, mouth, and even hair. But before drawing, let's not just draw that blindly. Let's find where everything is going to be. So let's see the eyebrows. The eyebrows are around here and they connect to the top of the ear. See, right here. So whenever you're drawing a face, you'll know that the eyebrows will be at this point here. So we can make here some shapes for the eyebrows. Next we have the line for the eyes here, right? So let's make here some shapes showing where the eyes are. There we go. Now the nose, we can see that the nose comes from here. Then here we have like this triangle shape, right? Something like this. Since we're seeing a bit from the bottom, we see this the nose a bit from the bottom. We can see this part of the nose, and then we have the mouth right here, right? So we have here our head. Let me just move this to the side so you can see. But as you can see, we have our head here built. We have a reference, we have a guideline to work with and move from that. Now, before drawing something a bit more detailed, I always recommend to practice the shapes first. So just go open up your sketchbook, open up a blank document on your computer and just draw heads in the 3/4 view. Just grab here and do these same shapes all over again, as many times as you need, until you feel you got it right, until you feel that you can draw a head in 3/4 perfectly, or not perfectly, but you remember the shapes, you know how to go about it. Just do this as many times. You can even fill 2, 3, 4 sketchbook pages, as much as you want, because this will develop your muscle memory, and later on when you want to draw the head in 3/4 again, you already know. Your body itself will remember the shapes that you need to do that. So do practice this, don't be afraid to do this, and it's not that boring. I think it's a very good exercise. So just do it. Do a bunch of sketches, of drawings of a head in 3/4, and then when you're ready, we can go back to these shapes and start drawing a more detailed sketch. So I'm going to add some transparency here now, a new layer on top, and I'm going to draw a more detailed sketch of all of this. So going to go over here. Now notice that here, I'm sorry, let me just again add some transparency here. Notice that in the eye there's a curve going inside and then out again. So we have the cheek going out and we have the brow here. So when drawing, pay attention to that as well and add that curve. Alright, there we go. And of course, even if you already have a developed style, feel free to add your style when you're doing this part of the exercise. But if you're still trying to figure out how to draw something, I would say to keep faithful with the reference image. It doesn't need to be a very realistic copy of the portrait you're seeing, but do try to keep things as faithful as possible, just so you're learning how to draw the thing. There we go. The eyes will be a bit turned to the side, right? She's looking a bit to that side. Now, the eye here, as you can see, I drew it pretty normally, right? With this one, I like to add a bit of perspective. It helps with getting that depth into the drawing. So it's not perfectly round here, it does have a little bit of a pointy arch right there. We have the nose connects to the eyebrow here. As you see here, we have the eyebrow and the nose, right? So remember that line. That's a very helpful line when drawing a head in 3/4. There we go. And now we have the mouth. So we know where the mouth is. Now all we need to do is add the lips. So let's do this. Since it's in 3/4, you'll notice that this curve here will have a bigger curve here on this side, on the left side, and on the other. This will help create some depth as well. So there we go. She has some earrings, right? So let's do that. Those earrings might as well. And now all we are missing is the hair, right? So how to go about with the hair? First we need to find the hairline. So usually the hairline goes about here. We have here the rest of the hair, right? And we have our hairline right here. Now all we need to do is to build up the hair around that. For example, she has very long hair, right? So let's do something similar. The hair here goes a bit in the front of the ear. And there we go. As you can see, you are done. You have a head in the 3/4 view. It is very simple. Now, for example, I like to draw the eyes very big, so I would go right here and change that a little bit. Of course, this is easier if you're drawing digitally, but you can always make some changes when you finish your sketch before going for the final version. But this is it. This is what you want to do. You want to start with a reference. You want to find the basic shapes on that reference. Like we did here, we started with a circle, finding where the chin is, connecting everything, and then finding where each of the facial features are. And finally, when you have that and when you practice that a lot of times, we can do a more detailed sketch and we have a head done. And of course, like I said, as you can see, I'm not really trying to capture the exact essence of this person here. That's not what I'm looking for, although it is helpful if you're just starting and you don't know how to draw something. It is helpful to stay faithful to your reference image. But what's important is for you to know where everything is. It's important to understand where everything is going to be, just so you learn the basics, the guidelines of drawing a head. And this goes for anything. It goes for drawing heads, it goes for drawing bodies, anything you want to draw. It's always good to have a reference, finding out where everything is. Don't be afraid to draw on top of the image. This is how you learn, and then from there you can develop the drawing. All right, and remember, you're not going to be drawing the shapes on top of images all the time, on top of references. At some point you'll know already. That's why I told you to just practice a lot of times, just drawing a head on 3/4 view, because once you've done this a lot of times, you don't need to draw on top of the image anymore, because you already know the shapes by heart. And once that happens, you just need to open your sketchbook, start drawing the character you want to draw in the position you want, and that's it. So at first, find the reference, find the shapes on that image, practice a lot of times the shapes, and you'll see that you'll remember that whenever you need. So there we go. See, we started with very simple shapes, then we drew a more detailed sketch, and finally a final version. Now, of course, as you can see, there's nothing too refined about this, because of course I'm doing something quick here just to show you with what steps there are, so you can take as long as you want. If I took maybe an hour to do this, I will have something completely different and more refined and a bit better. So are all very quick. So take your time. As I said, practice this first, just do this, and then when you feel you have the hang of the shapes, you can start making more finished drawings. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you can now draw heads in a 3/4 view. And if you like this, remember to like and subscribe to see more videos like this and to learn more about drawing. And remember, keep on drawing.